Welcome back, and for our final practice test for ACT prep. 60 more problems for you. Good luck. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. All right, it says 35, 84, and 119 are all multiples of what number? Well, I looked at 35, the smallest numbers, and I looked at all the factors, which would be 1 times 35 is 35, and 5 times 7. So whatever the number is, it's got to be one of these. So I don't think, 1 goes into everything, of course. 35 does not go into them all. 5 does not go into them all, so the only thing I can hope for is the 7. 7 goes into 35 5 times, so that works. 7 goes into 84 12 times, so that works. And 7 goes into 119 17 times evenly. So all of these numbers are multiples of 7. Okay? Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Come on. There you go. All right, a circle has a radius of 6 inches. Well, that means it has a diameter of 12 inches. They want the diameter, but they want it in feet. Well, 12 inches equals 1 foot. Okay. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got C. So it says, which of the following inequality creates the graph below? Looking at the graph, it says my solutions, my x's, are between -2, but don't include it, so no bar, and less than +2. But this one's filled in, so it needs a bar under it. So that would be C. Okay. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. All right, so we're multiplying these. And again, most people screw up because they just automatically start, they just automatically read left to right and start multiplying. You've got to do the square first. So this is going to be, really what you're doing is it's going to be 5 times x squared times y to the 4th times 3 squared times x squared times y squared. Okay, because when you exponent, when you power, the exponents get multiplied by the power you're distributing in. So that's 3 to the second, x to the second, y to the second. So now that's 5 times 9, which is 45. You have x squared times x squared, that's x to the 2 plus 2, which is x to the 4th. And you have y to the 4th times y squared, which is y to the 4 plus 2, which is, oops, let's put that up here, y to the 4 plus 2, which is y to the 6th. Okay? Hit pause, try this one, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got C. Let's say it says in the figure below, x and y are congruent, which means they're the same angle. They have the same length. They have the same measurement. What is the measure of angle x? Well, if these two are the same, then I can say 180, take away 115, take away, or leaves, all right, if you take 180 minus 115, and I get 65. Well, I have to split that then. Half of 65 goes here, and half of 65 goes here. So if I take 65 and divide it by 2, I get 32.5 degrees. Okay? Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. All right, 35 is what percent of 140? For me, anytime I see percent problems, I always think of the percent proportion, which says is over of equals P over 100. So it says 35 is, so 35 goes on top, where is what percent, so that stays P, that's what I'm looking for, of 140, of goes on the bottom, and P, 100 is always under P. So then I can cross multiply, so I have 35 times 100 equals 140 times P. That's 3,500 equals 140p. Divide by 140, and p equals 25%. And if you're wondering, if you look at this ratio, okay, yeah, you could do 35 divided by 140. If you type in 35 divided by 140, you're going to get 0.25, which is fine. Just remember, for percent, you have to move it over twice, which is what this whole multiplying by 100 does. Okay? All right, try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. All right, Stacy's traveling cross country and wants to know how far she'll have to travel. The map key says that every inch represents 60 miles. If Stacy measures 50 inches on the map, how many miles will the trip be? So it's a classic proportion problem. Okay, anytime you see something about a map or a map key or a scale, they've scaled a model, they've made a scale model of the Eiffel Tower or something, they'll give you your conversion rate. Like on a map, it says that 1 inch represents 60 miles. That's your first proportion. And then you set up the other one, and just remember, if inches are on top here, they got to be on top here. The units have to match. Okay? And then you just cross multiply and divide like we would any proportion. That's going to be 1 times x equals 60 times 50. That gives me x equals 3,000. Okay? Try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Okay, it says, what is the 10th term in the sequence of the gnome numbers shown below? Well, this is the first term when it has 3 dots. The second term has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots. The third term has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dots. The fourth term has 9 dots. So we got to figure out the 5th term. Well, they're going up by odds. 3, 5, 7, 9. So the 5th term is going to be 11. The 6th term is going to be 13. The 7th term is going to be 15. The 8th term is going to be 17. And the 9th term is going to be 19. So the 10th term would be 21 dots. Okay? Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, it says in the figure below, the measure of angle x is 20 degrees less than the measure of angle y. What is the measure of angle y? Well, if we know, it says angle x is 20 degrees less than the measure of angle y. So I can call this angle y minus 20. Well, these 3 angles have to add up to 180. So I can say y plus 70 plus y minus 20 has to add up to 180 degrees because it's a straight line. Alright, so I would get 2y plus 50 equals 180. So then I would minus 50. I get 2y equals 130. Divide by 2. And y equals 65 degrees. Well, they didn't want the oh yeah, they do want the measure of angle y. Oh, so we're done. But if they would have said they want to know the measure of angle x, you'd have had to say, well, that would be 65 minus 20, which would equal 45 degrees. So angle x is 45, angle y is 65, and the middle is 70. Okay? Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, Dennis weighed 175 pounds. He lost 12% of this weight in a month. How much did he weigh at the end of the month? Alright, well, he started off weighing 175. He lost, that's subtraction, 12%, that's 0.12, of means times this weight, which was 175. So if I do that, that's going to be 175, take away 21 is 154. Okay. Try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. This says if A equals 2 and B equals 4, then what is the value of that expression? Well, anytime they're telling you values of letters and then they give you a problem with letters in it, they're telling you to replace the letters with those numbers. So anywhere I see an, So anywhere I see an A, I'm going to put a 2. Anywhere I see a B, I'm going to put a 4. So if I recopy this, it's going to say 2 plus 4 squared times 2 squared minus 4 squared all over 2 squared times 4 squared. Alright, so if I simplify that, 2 plus 4 is 6, squared is 36. 2 squared is 4, minus 4 squared is 16, is negative 12. 2 squared is 4, and 4 squared is 16. So if I multiply 36 times negative 12, I get negative 432 over 4 times 16. And you could do a lot of things. I could cancel the 4 goes into 16, 4, and then multiply, yada, yada, yada. Type it in a calculator, divide first, which is what I did. This was negative 108 times 16 gives me negative 1,728. Okay. Alright, try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 7/13. There are 4 brown socks, 7 blue socks, and 2 green socks in the drawer. What is the probability that a sock randomly picked from the drawer will be blue? Well, what they're saying is if you pick blue, you win. If you pick these, you lose. And probability is the number of ways you can win over the total. So I can win 7 ways out of my total would be the 4 plus the 7 plus the 2, which gives me 7 over 13. Okay. Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, what is the value of this expression? Well, follow order of operations. We have to do exponents first. 3 cubed is 27, minus 4 squared is 16, over 2 to the 4th is 16, minus 1 to any degree is 1. So on top, 27 minus 16 is 11, and on bottom, 16 minus 1 is 15. Okay? Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, it says, again, if x is 2, y is 3, and z is negative 1, what is the value of that expression? Again, when they give you letters and tell you what they're worth, and the problem with letters in it, replace the letters with the numbers. So I have 2 for x times 3 for y minus 2 for x times 3 for y times, negative 1 for z over 3 for y, negative 1 for z, minus 2 for x, and 3 for y. Now we just follow orders of operations. So I got all this parentheses, multiplication first. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6 times negative 1 is negative 6, but minus a negative 6 makes it positive 6. On bottom, 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Bring down the minus. And 2 times 3 is 6. So on top I get 12, and on bottom I get negative 9, and I can reduce that, which would be negative 4/3, which isn't there because they made it a mixed number. 3 goes into 4 one whole time. Take away 3, leaves 1 left over. So my answer is 1 and 1/3. Okay, negative. Okay? Alright, try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, the triangle below is a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Draw one to the side. I hope you're seeing how often they put these 30, 60, 90s and the 45, 45, 90s. Alright, your 60-degree angle is next to your short side. Your 30-degree angle is next to your long side. And then, of course, over here is your hypotenuse. On a 30, 60, 90, whatever the short leg is, the long one will be that times the square root of 3. And the hypotenuse will be double that. Okay? So they're telling me that the long leg is 4 square roots of 3. Which means x is 4. Which means, and they want the length of BC, which would be 4. If they wanted the hypotenuse, then that would be 8. Okay? Classic 30, 60, 90 right triangle problem. Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, they want the sum. Darn it. They want the sum of these two polynomials. This one and this one. If they would have said difference, please guys, if they say difference, you've got to remember that how many ever terms you subtract off would change signs. But it says sum, so we don't have to worry about anybody's signs changing. I have 3a cubed b squared minus 2ab squared plus, and again, I don't have to worry about these guys changing because I'm adding them. If they would have said difference, then I would have had to change these guys' signs. Okay? So just be careful between addition and subtraction. Alright, so to solve this, we're going to combine like terms. This term has a to the third, b to the second. This term also has a to the third, b to the second. So I'm going to keep a to the third, b to the second, and add the coefficients. 3 plus 2 is 5. Then I have a ab squared and an ab squared. So I'm going to keep ab squared and add the coefficients, which is negative 2 plus 1, which is negative 1. And I can't combine them because they have different terms. So I am done. Okay. Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Okay, it says the sum of Chad's age and Roberta's age is 51. It says Chad is 5 years older than Roberta. So Chad, I can say, is Roberta's age plus 5. Right? So I just did some substitution there. Plus Roberta's age has to equal 51. So if I simplify that, I'm going to get 2r plus 5 equals 51. Okay? Try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got F. It says in the figure below, AB is parallel to CD. What is the measure of angle ACB? ACB. So they want this angle right here. Well, that's easy. If I can get this angle, I know the three angles of a triangle add up to 180. Well, this is a straight line. So 180, take away 125, leaves 55 degrees here. And then I do 180, take away 70, take away 55, leaves 55 degrees. So this is also 55 degrees. Which makes, just in case they were asking weird things, makes this isosceles, so you know those two sides are equal. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, they want the sum of the solutions to this problem. Well, this is the zero product property. They're saying that this times this equals 0. Well, the only way you can multiply two things together and get 0 for an answer is if one of the things getting multiplied is equal to 0. So, you set each factor to 0, x minus 3 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. To get x alone, I'd add 3, x equals 3, minus 2, x equals negative 2, and then it wants me to add those up. 3 plus a negative 2 is 1. Okay. Try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. What is the probability of being dealt a face card, of which there are 12, from a standard deck of 52? Well, you win if you draw a face card, which they're telling you there's 12. So the probability of pulling a face card, there's 12 ways to win, because there's 12 face cards in a deck. Out of the total number of cards in a deck is 52. And that reduces, you can reduce both by 4, reduces down to 3 over 13. Okay. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, which of the following is the simplified form of this expression? Well, just order of operations, parentheses first, so I'm going to distribute that negative, which gives me negative x squared, positive 3x. Everything else that was there comes down. And then I can combine like terms. So I have 2x squared, take away 1x squared, leaves 1x squared. And I have 3x plus 4x, which makes 7x. Done. Alright, try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, it says if the absolute value of x minus 3 equals 1, what is the sum of all the solutions for x? Anytime you solve an absolute value problem, you've got to split it into two problems. Drop the bars, drop the equality symbol, drop the other side, or keep that sign the same, or drop the bars, flip the equality symbol with an equal sign. That's silly, but what I mean is if that was a greater than or an equal, or a greater than or a less than, you'd have to flip it around on the second one. And then you change the sign on the other side. So you make that negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to add 3, I get x equals 4. Add 3, x equals 2. Well, what do they want? 4 and 2? No, the sum of the solutions. So if I take my solutions, add them up, I get 6. Okay? Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, and hopefully you got E. It says the circle graph below shows the number of A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's that were earned on an English test. What is the sum of the measure of angle theta and the measure of angle alpha? Well, this is a typical circle graph, okay? So first of all, you got to get your percentages. Well, if I do add all these up, there's, let's see, start with A's. There's 5 A's, there's 8 B's, there's 14 C's, there's 9 D's, and there's 4 F's. That comes out to a total of 40 scores, okay? So if I figure out what percent of the circle the A's are, well, that's 5 out of a total of 40, which is 0.125, which is 12.5% of the circle. For my B's, well, that's 8 out of 40, which is 0.2, which comes out to 20% of the circle. Okay, so we got to figure out how much of the circle that is. Well, if I add up, we could do this first or second, it don't matter. If I add up these percentages, the A's and the B's are taking up a total of 32.5% of 360 degrees. Well, that means times, but I need this as a decimal, so 0.325 times 360 gives me 117 degrees. Okay? Try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, it says what point on the graph of y equals x cubed minus 2x plus 1 has an x coordinate of 5? Well, they're telling you to change x to 5. So y equals 5 cubed minus 2 times 5 plus 1. That is 125 minus 10 plus 1, which gives me 115 plus 1, which gives me 116. So my ordered pair would be when x is 5, y is 116. Okay? Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And you should get 1/2. If you want to find the slope of a line, the easiest way, in my opinion, is to get y alone, because then your slope is whatever is touching x. So if I take my 2x minus 4y equals 8, and I try and get y alone, I'm going to minus 2x. That gives me negative 4y equals negative 2x plus 8. Now to get y alone, I'm going to divide by negative 4. I get y equals 1/2 x minus 2. And there's your slope. Whatever touches x after you get y alone is your slope. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, the center of a line segment on a number line is 6. That's the center. If the line segment has a length of 8, well, if that's the center and the whole thing is 8, that means 4 this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, which makes that 10. And 4 this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, which makes that endpoint 2. Because it says, what is the sum of the endpoints of the line segment? Well, 2 plus 10 is 12. Okay? Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, a clothing store is having a sale with 30% off all shirts. If a person buys a shirt at the sale for $14, what was the original price of the shirt? Well, whatever the original price of the shirt was, let's call it X, they didn't pay that. Okay? They paid less than that. They took that price and they took 30% of it off. So 30% of that price would be 0.30x. And you're taking that away from the original price, which was X, and it said that that discounted price was $14. So I have 1x take away 0.30x, which leaves me 0.70x equals 14. Divide by 0.70, and I get x equals 20. So the shirt originally cost $20. With 30% off, I get it for 14. Okay. Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, the total area. You can break it up however you want. I just decided to go bloop, bloop, and make 3 rectangles. Like a draw. Okay, so the total area. I need the area of this little square, which is 4. I need the area of this big rectangle, which is 5 times 3, that's 15. And the area of this rectangle, which would be 2 times 3. Oh, my bad, no it's not. Almost screwed up there. This whole side is not 5. Well, if this side is 2 and this side is 2, then this side is 2. So this whole side is 7. Times 3 makes the area of this one 21, my bad. And the area of this rectangle would be 6. So the total area is 4 plus 21 plus 6, which is 31 units squared. Okay? Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, hopefully you got 4/3. It says, what is the value of tan theta? Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Remember, so, ka, toa. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay? Anyway, so from this angle, opposite of me would be 4, and adjacent to me would be 3. Okay? Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, it says in the right triangle below, what is the length of side B? So sorry, excuse me. Alright, right triangle, missing side, Pythagorean theorem. So I have leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. Okay, so 7 squared is 49 plus b squared. When you square square root, it cancels, so I just have 170. And then I'm going to minus 49, I have b squared equals 121, square root, and b equals 11. Okay? Alright, try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. Okay, it says a computer store sells 2 different types of computers, A and B. Computer A costs $2,000 and computer B costs $2,200. If a total of 27 computers are sold and a total of $56,800 is collected, how many type A computers are sold? This is a typical systems question. They're giving you 2 things, and they're giving you 2 different totals about them. One, they're telling you have a total of 27 computers. So that means I would add up the number of A computers plus the number of B computers, and that has to add up to a total of 27 computers. They also give me a total that I made $56,800 off of the sale of these computers. Well, I can't say the number of A computers that I sold, but if I want the price for the number of A, I would take the number of A computers I sold and multiply them by their cost, which is $2,000. And then to get the money from my B computers, that would be the number of computers times their cost, which is $2,200. And then that would add up to the money I made. So there's my system. Okay? Well, I'm going to do elimination. So I'm going to kill the A's. So I'm going to multiply the top by the bottom and the bottom by the top. Since they came out with the same sign, I'm going to make the bottom negative. So on top, I'm going to have 2,000A plus 2,000B equals 2,000 times 27 is 54,000. On bottom, when I distribute that -1, I'm going to get negative 2,000A, negative 2,200B equals negative 56,800. So now when I combine the A's cancel, 2,000 minus 2,200 is negative 200B equals, type that in, you get negative 2,800. So to get B alone, I'm going to divide by negative 200, and the number of B computers I sold is 14, which is not what they asked for. They asked for how many type A were sold. Well, substitute it back in. A plus 14 equals 27, minus 14, the number of A computers has to be 13. Okay? Alright, try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, in the figure below, what is the length of AD? So they're trying to figure out this length. Well, if that's 45 degrees, then that's 45 degrees, and that's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Well, whatever these are in a 45, I'm not going to be able to draw it like, I'm terrible at trying to draw things. Okay, so there's B, there's D, there's A. That's a 45, 45, 90. So remember, and we'll talk about as far as a unit go, if this leg is X, then this leg has to be X, and this side has to be X square roots of 2. Okay, that's the relationship in the 45, 45, 90. So, if I know, and I know that these 2 triangles are congruent, obviously, because they have, they're both 45, 45, 90s, and they share this side, so angle, side, angle. tells me that they are congruent. So if this is 4, then this is 4. Well, if that's 4, then I know the hypotenuse, 4, has to equal, in my relationship here of the legs and the hypotenuse, then 4 has to equal x square roots of 2. So to get x alone, I'm going to divide by the square root of 2, which isn't there because you can't leave a radical in your denominator. So to rationalize it, I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of the bottom, which gives me 4 square roots of 2 over 2. And 2 goes into 4 2 times, so that gives me 2 square roots of 2. Okay? So this side would be 2 square roots of 2, and this side would be 2 square roots of 2. There you go. Okay. You try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, it says in the figure below, ABC is similar to DEF, which tells me then that little a corresponds to little d, just as little b is proportional to little e, just as little c is proportional to little f. So let's label our triangle and plug in the values that we know and see what they want, okay? This would be little a, little b, little c, little d, little e, little f. And they want me to find DE. So they want me to find little f. Alright, let's plug in what we know. I know that a is 11. I know that little d is little d. I know that little b is 12. I know that little e is 8. I know that little c is 10, and little f is what I need. Okay? So since this is the one I want, I don't need this ratio. I'm going to use this ratio, proportion, alright, to solve for f. So this would give me 12 times f equals 8 times 10. So 12f equals 80. If I divide by 12, I get f equals 6.6 repeating, which you should know by now, repeating 6's is classic for 2/3. So f equals 6 and 2/3. Okay? Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, it says, what is the area in square units of triangle ABC? Well, area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. We could do the distance formula and all that, but guys, they set it up on a number line for me. Just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My base is 9. My height, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is 7 divided by 2. That's 63 divided by 2, which is 31.5 units squared. Okie dokie. Try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. That is 3/2. What is the slope of a line having an equation? Anytime you see slope in line, you should think y equals mx plus b. And when y is alone, your slope is whatever touches x, which in this case is 3/2. Alright, try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. Okay, it says which of one of the following number lines contains the solutions for this equation? Well, again here, you could do lots of things. You could get a common denominator. Well, no, I wish we wouldn't have to do that. It's a proportion, so I would just cross multiply. So I have negative 4 plus x times x, and that has to equal the means, which is 3 times 2 minus x. So if we clean this up, simplify it, I'm going to get negative 4x plus x squared equals 6 minus 3x. Well, it's a second degree equation, so I want to get everything on the same side. So I'm going to move these both over here. So I'm going to minus 6, and I'm going to add 3x, and I'm going to add 3x. because over here I get 0, which anytime you're solving a second degree equation, in other words, you have an exponent of 2, you need 0 on one side. So combine like terms and drop this in order is going to be x squared minus x minus 6. This should be an easy factor because a is 1. So factors of 6 that make 1 would be 2 and 3. If c is negative, these guys have to have different signs. And everybody always wants the middle sign. But if they have to be different, only the big guy gets it. So 3 gets the negative, 2 gets the positive. When we solve that, x plus 2 equals 0, I get x equals negative 2. X minus 3 equals 0, I get x equals 3. Well, I need a solution set that contains both of those solutions. F has the negative 2, but not the 3. G has the negative 2, N has the 3, so that's good. But just to check the other ones, H doesn't have the negative 2, J doesn't have the negative 2, and K has the negative 2, and almost has the 3, but see that open circle there? That means they're not including 3 there, whereas this one, it does. Okay? Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, if ABC is similar to DEF in the diagram below, then the measure of angle D is the measure, same as the measure of angle A. Well, if these two add up to 120, 180, take away 120 leaves that 60 degrees, which means that's 60 degrees. Okay? Try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, so all I need to write an equation is a slope and a y-intercept. Well, there's my y-intercept. That's 5. So b equals 5. All I need is a slope. Well, you got 2 points there. I mean, you can count if you want to, but my slope is going to be, we'll call this point 1 and point 2, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's negative 5 over 10, which is negative 1/2. So if I put negative 1/2 here and 5 here, I get y equals negative 1/2 x plus 5. Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, what is the smallest number in the solution set to this problem? Alright, well I got to get x alone. So I'm going to move 5x over, which gives me negative 2x plus 5 is less than or equal to 1. So now I'm going to minus 5. I get negative 2x is less than or equal to negative 4. Divide by negative 2. I get x is greater than or equal to positive 2. Remember, when you divide by a negative, you have to flip your inequality. If I graph that, I can start at 2 and include it and go right. So the smallest number in that solution set is 2. Okay? Try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Okay, when you divide with just monomials, okay, there's nothing added or subtracted up there. There's not a sum or a difference of terms. It's just a mono divided by a mono. You divide your letters by subtracting their exponents. So this would be a to the 2 minus 1, b to the negative 2 minus 3, and c to the 4 minus 1. Well, that's going to give me a to the first, b to the negative 5th, c to the 3rd. Anybody with a positive exponent can stay up top. So I'm going to have AC cubed on top. He's got to move down because he's got a negative exponent. Okay, remember in my tutorials I said if you got a negative exponent, you got a bad attitude, and I'm going to send you downstairs till you straighten it out. Alright, oops, then it becomes positive when you move it down. Okay? Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Alright, it says in the figure below, each side of the square is tangent to the circle at the midpoint of the side. What is the area of the circle? Well, if from here to here is 8, then here to here is 8, which means here to here is 4. So the radius of my circle is 4. And the area of a circle is pi r squared. So my area is going to be pi times my radius squared, which is going to give me 16 pi. Okay. Alright, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Okay, a person buys 5 different types of fruit at the grocery store. Below is a list of the amount and type of fruit and the price. Which type of fruit is the least expensive per piece? Okay, this basically says for $1.44 you get 3 peaches. Well, I want to know what does it cost for 1 peach, which basically means you divide. And what you get is 48 cents each. Okay, so there's your peaches. My plums are going to be $2.24 for 7, which divide by 7, you will get 32 cents each. My apples, my apples are $1.48 for 4 of them. So for each one, if I divide that out, I get 37 cents each. My nectarines are $1.74 for 6 of them. Type that in and I get 29 cents each. So far nectarines are the winner. And then last but not least, $2.35 for 5 bananas. Divide that out and you get 47 cents each. That's the smallest. That was nectarines. So that was my answer. Okay. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Okay, for which real values of x is the following expression defined? Everywhere except for when the square root of 25 plus x can never equal 0, because your denominator can never equal 0. So there's a couple ways you can solve this, okay? If I get x alone, I'd minus the radical off, move this to the other side. So I'd say x can never equal a negative square root of 25. Well, again, most of the time when we do a square root, we do plus or minus. But this is telling me they just want the negative one. So x can never be negative 5 here. Alright, try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, and hopefully you got J. A triangle has a base. This base is 1/2 of its height. Notice that language. Of. You know what I mean? Is your equal sign. Of is multiply. So this is h. And the area is 36. Well, my area is 1/2 times base times height. Yes, or base times height over 2. So they gave me the area, so I can change that as to 36, 1/2. My base is 1/2 h, and my height is h. So I have 36 equals 1/4 h squared, right? So then I'm going to multiply by 4 to clear that fraction. So by 4, I get 4 times 36, 24, 12, 4. Sorry, I thought I had that out there. Equals h. What did I do? That's h squared over 4 equals 36. Oh, I'm such a schmo. I'm finding area. Oh, yeah. What the heck am I doing? What is the sum of the base and the height? I don't think I finished this problem. Sorry, I'm looking at my paper so I don't screw up and I'm going, How did I get 18? Okay, I didn't finish this. So if I multiply by 4, I just did that, 24, there's 144 equals height squared, square root, and I get my height is equal to 12. Well, if my height is 12, my base is half of that, so half of 12 makes my base 6, and they want the sum of my base, which is 6, and my height, which is 12, which is 18. Sorry about that. Okay. Alright, try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, which of the following choices is the complete factored form of this polynomial? Well, when you see all those letters, your biggest thing you can do is look for a GCF. Okay, the biggest number that goes into all of those would be a 3. He's got x squared, he's got x to the 5th, he's got x cubed. The ones that they have, the number of them that they have in common is only second degree. Okay, you can't say they have 5 in common because you don't have 5 x's. So the most they have in common together is x squared. And then you got a y cubed, a y squared, and a y cubed. Again, the smallest is going to be the most they have in common. So that's my GCF. Now, to factor by GCF, what you do is you divide by that and get what's left. So I divide by 3x squared y squared, 3x squared y squared, 3x squared y squared. 3 divided by 3 cancels, x squared cancels x squared, y cubed divided by y squared is just y. Positive 12 divided by 3 is positive 4, x to the 5th divided by x squared is x to the 3rd, you subtract exponents, and the y squareds cancel. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2, x cubed divided by x squared is x, y cubed divided by y squared is y. And there you go. Okay. Give me just a second. These are really, really long. Let me hit pause a second and I will be right back. Okay. Come on. Alright, there we go. Alright, try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Okay, this one, the concoction they came up to write it at is absolutely ridiculous. But the volume of a sphere is given by the formula V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Which of the following choices expresses r in terms of V? Well, when I did this, I was like, oh, get r alone. So the first thing I did was I multiplied by 3, which gave me 3v equals 4 pi r cubed. Okay, and then I divided by 4, and I get 3v over 4 equals pi. Actually, you know what? Sorry. I wouldn't just divide by 4, I'd divide by 4 pi. So that would give me r cubed equals 3v over 4 pi. And then to get rid of the cube, I would cube root, and I would say that r equals the cube root of 3v over 4 pi. I'm done. Well, that answer isn't there. It is, but ugh, it looks redonkulous. Well, the one thing you can do, though, is, look, you know it's got to be 3 over 4. So that's out, and that's out. Oh, look, and then the other thing you can do, even though they're crazy writing, mine is a cube root, not a square root, so it's got to be h. But let me try and explain how they wrote it. What they did was they took 4/3 pi r cubed, and instead of doing it separately and multiplying by 3 and then dividing by 4, they just multiplied both sides. Sorry, I'm trying to get a different color. They multiplied both sides by the reciprocal, which would be 3 over 4. Because that cancels and that cancels. So then what they said was, they said, well, okay, so far over there I've got v times 3/4 equals pi r cubed. So then what they said is they divided by pi, and they just wrote v plus 3/4 in parentheses divided by, dang, I can't, it's pen, divided by pi equals r cubed. And then they took the cube root and just left it looking like that. Okay? That's how they got there, but it's the same thing as my answer. I think mine looks prettier. All right, try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. Then hopefully you got 12. It says if a over 6 minus a over 9 equals 2/3, then a equals what? Well, again, you can do your crisscross straight across to do this subtraction over here. So I have a times 9, which would be a times 9, minus 6 times a over straight across would be 6 times 9 equals 2/3. So I have 9a minus 6a over 54 equals 2/3. 9a take away 6a is 3a over 54 equals 2/3. And now I have a nice proportion, and I can say 3a times 3 equals 54 times 2. That gives me 9a equals 108. Divide by 9, and I get a equals 12. Okay? Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Alright, the roof of the house shown below is a right triangle. The front of the house forms a square. Which of the following is the correct relationship among angles and sides in the figure? Well, this one says sine theta equals s over r. No, because sine theta would be opposite over hypotenuse, so that should be s over t. Cosine equals r over t. That's true because that's adjacent over hypotenuse. So that one is true, which means I wouldn't have to check the rest of them once I found them. Okay? All right, try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. All right, it says, what are the center and the radius of the circle having this equation? Guys, anytime you got x plus something squared and y plus something squared equals something not 1. If it was 1 over here, you probably have a blah blah ellipse or a hyperbola. But when the other side's a perfect square, it's pretty guaranteed that it's a circle. So your center is at, and your equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals radius squared. So h is always, and your center is at hk. And then obviously your radius is the square of whatever's over there. So just remember that because of that minus, okay, h is not positive 2 like it looks like. H is actually negative 2. And because of this minus, k is not really negative 5, it is positive 5. So there's my center. And if this is my radius squared, then radius squared equals 81. So my radius equals 9. Okay? All right, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. All right, it says if y is a real number, what is the smallest possible value of x in the equation y equals the square root of 4 minus x squared? Now, this is the key. Y has to, whatever you get, you have to get a real number. So just do substitution. For f, if I substitute negative 6 for x, I get y equals the square root of 4 minus a negative 6 squared. That's going to be the square root of 4 minus 36, because negative 6 squared is positive 36. Well, that's going to be the square root of negative 32, which is not real. So f is out. If I try g, I have y equals the square root of 4 minus a negative 5 squared. Negative 5 squared is 25, so 4 minus 25 is the square root of negative 21, which again is not real. So G is out. H, y equals the square root of 4 minus negative 4 squared. That's 16. 4 minus 16 is negative 12, which is not real. J, make x 3, negative 3, y equals the square root of 4 minus a negative 3 squared. That's 9. 4 minus 9 is negative 5, which is not real, which means G, it has to be K, but let's check it. Y equals the square root of 4 minus a negative 2 squared. That's 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. The square root of 0 is real, so it's got to be negative 2. Okay. All right, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And you should have got C. For me, again, I showed you in my tutorials how you can switch your calculator to scientific mode and just type it all in and it'll give you your answer in scientific mode. But you can just do it by hand. 2.36 times 10 to the second means move the decimal 2 places and you got 236. This says move the decimal 3 places. 1, 2, 3 gives me 4,310. Well, if I add those up, I get 4,546, which in scientific notation, you need a decimal right there, 4.546, and then to move back to where it was, which was at the end, is 1, 2, 3 to the right. Okay. All right, do this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. Okay, so we've got our trig identities here. So the first thing I see is 1/overs. When you see 1/overs, I think of my reciprocal identities. And I know from that that 1/over secant is cosine. Yeah. So if I have 1/over secant of 2 theta, then that's equal to cosine of 2 theta. This one, 1/over cosecant, is the same as sine. Well, if it's cosecant squared theta, then it's sine squared theta. So let's replace those. So I can replace this with cosine 2 theta and cosine squared theta, and I can replace this with sine squared theta. Well, we all know that's 1 times cosine 2 pi is going to give me cosine cosine of 2 theta. Well, that's my answer, but that's not there. So yeah, I remember something about double angle identities. When you got 2 theta instead of just regular, and there's 3 of them for cosine, but the one that's here is cosine theta or 2 theta equals 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. So that's what they replaced this with. Okay, and this should be down here at K, by the way. My little arrow's just up too far. So cosine 2 theta equals 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. I meant to move that down a little bit, sorry. The answer is K. My arrow just didn't come down far enough. All right, try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. Anytime they're asking you the distance from a point to another point on a number line, you've got to have absolute value bars, because on a number line you can move 4 units right or 4 units left. So if you're trying to go a distance of 4, you have 2 options. You can go 4 to the right or 4 to the left. So if you're trying to find the distance, it's always your point minus your distance, you know what I mean, 4 to a point, or from that point to x, sorry, and that's going to be the distance in between. Okay? All right, try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. All right, it says, what is the slope of the line containing those 2 points? Slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So my slope is going to be 2 minus 6 over 5 minus 3. This would be x1, y1. This would be x2, y2. Okay, so if I do the math, that's negative 4 on top. That's positive 2 on bottom. So my slope is negative 2. Okay. All right, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. All right, what type of figure is formed by connecting the points A, B, C, D on a coordinate plane? All right, so if I do A, which is at 2, 6, B, which is at negative 2, 3, C, which is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, and D, which is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You connect those dots, and if that was really straight, that is a trapezoid. Okay, you got 2 parallel sides, and the other one's coming in. Excuse me. All right, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Okay, this one was a little interesting. A lot of times they always say, like, what is the sum of the solutions? Here they want the sum of the factors. So if I factor this, it should be an easy factor. A is 1. Factors of 15 that make 2 would be 5 and 3. C is negative, which tells me they have to have opposite signs. And everybody always wants the middle sign, but if they have to be different, the big guy wins and he gets the middle sign and he's the opposite. So those are my factors, and now it wants me to add those. So he wants me to take x plus 5 and add it to x minus 3. Well, that would give me x and x is 2x. 5 and negative 3 is positive 2. Okay. All right, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. All right, this one is worded really badly, in my opinion. I had to, because it says the supplement of angle theta is between 0 and 90 degrees. Well, the way I took that was that the supplement had to be between 0 and 90 degrees, like as in the first quadrant. It doesn't mean that. It just means that it's an acute angle. Okay, it says which of the following, so if you pick a supplemental angle anywhere, so what supplement means is whatever the angle is plus the supplement has to come to 180 degrees. So they're calling this the supplement and this theta. Okay, well, if that makes sense to you, then what they're saying is you're in quadrant 2. Quad 2. Well, as far as these answers go, they didn't give me any numbers, anything. So they want to know what could be the values of the functions, what could be, not what are they, what could be the functions cosine and secant. Well, I don't know. They didn't give me any numbers whatsoever. They didn't tell me I'm in the unit circle. All right. So what are they trying to do? And then it dawned on me, oh yeah, they're trying to get, do you know your sign chart? Okay. And if you don't, you need to. Okay, so in your sign chart, in the first quadrant, all functions, sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, cosecant, secant, all functions are positive. Okay? In quadrant 2, only sine and cosecant are positive. In quadrant 3, only tan and cotan are positive. And in quadrant 4, only cosine and secant are positive. Well, I'm in quadrant 2, which means sorry, I have no idea why the bell just went off. Apologize for that interruption. Okay, so what that means is I'm looking for, if only sine and cosecant are positive up here, that means cosine and secant have to be negative. So I'm looking for values that are both negative. No, 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 yes, No. So it's got to be D. Okay. All right, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Okay, it says two cars leave point A and travel to point C. Car A travels in a straight line. Car B goes this way 9 units and then makes a 90-degree angle and goes up 12 units. How far did car 1 travel? So they're asking for the hypotenuse. So 12 squared plus 9 squared equals x squared. That's 144 plus 81 equals x squared. That's 225 equals x squared, square root, and x equals 15. Okay? All right, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Okay, what is the maximum number of zeros that exist for the function? That's 5. You look for your highest exponent. It doesn't mean that it will have 5 x-intercepts, but your highest degree tells you at most this thing could cross the x-axis 5 times. At most. It might not cross 5 times, but at most it can cross 5 times. So your highest degree always tells you the maximum number of zeros you can have. All right, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. All right, the sales of a new product increased at a constant rate. That means it's going up for 6 months. Then the sales leveled off. That means it's not going up or down for 4 months. And then the sales decreased for 6 months at the same constant rate as they had increased. So the same, but it's just going down, but it's going to be the same rate. Okay, so you're looking for a graph that looks like that, which is G. Okay, my friends, I hope you have enjoyed all of this ACT prep. Good luck. I hope you do well, and I hope this helps you increase your scores. Until next time, have a nice day.